Hi guys, we're here live. Sorry we're a little bit late getting on here. Coach was coming from the other center this morning, so getting a little late start from the 9 o'clock start we were going to give you. We're basically going live every week for a tips and topics of the week. Just wanted to touch base with you about last week's. We went over a little bit of the plastic ball, what a beginning bowler looks for and what they're going through in order to get into the game. Some of the things that coach looks for to try and help them proceed going forward to get better in that beginning conventional fit. This week we're going to discuss going from that plastic ball, going through that plastic ball over to a reactive ball. We're actually going to discuss a few of the things that coach would look for, what he sees, even discuss maybe an option for what to do when choosing weights, so that the bowler that you have as a coach, helping them out, that they are not struggling in their game when they're going forward and they still have a time to enjoy it. I'm going to basically pan it over to coach and go for this week's tops and topics and tips and topics of the week. Can't talk this morning. There we go, Coach.
Hey AJ, last week we were talking a lot about the beginner bowlers and how they select the right ball, polyester, or whatever they need to get going. Some of the things that I'm going to look at now in the lesson to take my bowler to the next level is improvement in their timing and tempo and their accuracy, and I've got them pretty much inclined to what the targets are, second arrow, third arrow, whatever it might be, and just their level of expertise. So what we want to do is get into the next level with the reactive resin ball, mid-range ball. Obviously we've got them into a conventional, more than likely, in the polyester ball. Might have had a fingertip in the beginning, but probably did not. So we're going to be sure that we have the right weight, make the right choice. AJ is going to discuss that with me. See some of the mid-level urethanes, reactives, whatever it might be. It could be a urethane ball, but more than likely a reactive. Might have already done this, probably did last week with the polyester plastic ball to see what the right weight is. But one of the techniques that I've used over the years is to take a ball box, the ball in it, whatever the weight is, and just have them swing it freely. AJ, I think I see you do that here sometimes in the shop.
Most definitely. It's a great option to be able to show the person that's coming in, that's going to become that bowler, what the real true weight is they could do, and make sure it's not going to overweigh them or underweigh them one way or the other.
Yeah, so when they come to me, we've got the right ball in their hand, and more than likely we're going to talk to you about getting the right drilling, getting to that level. Maybe they want to see some different ball reactions that they need. So realistically, we're going to look at all the different categories if we've got. What are some of the ones that you recommend, AJ, here in our shop for that next level?
Generally, we're going to start out at that, nitrous, Columbia 300, or Rhino, Brunswick ball, Hustle from Rotogrip. Those are all pretty good entry-level balls to start off with. From our standpoint in the shop here, just like every bowler is so different, so it may not just always be that first beginning ball. It might be able to go into something else that's just a little bit better for them because their speed might be higher or whatever the case may be.
A lot of cases, too, whenever we're moving to the next level, the bowlers have to get used to the fact that they don't want to throw the ball so hard.
Yeah.
And in this, in the video that I give, and I do the rev ratings and the velocities up on the telescores to let them know that we're going to have to roll this ball, teaching them to get rotation, talk to them a little bit about the inserts. They don't know about that, so that they'll know what they're supposed to do to go to the next level. In most cases, they have that tendency to have their timing and tempo a lot too fast, or in the other way too slow, so they don't have the right ball. So encourage them to get this next level, so they want to get more rotation, they want to get more pinfall. So that's what they're going to have. They don't understand friction and the ball motion and what's going on. We don't want to get to the really high level, but they need to get acclimated to level 2.
Definitely, for sure. You'll see it as much as I will, that even as they get to that point where maybe after you have taught them to go from the plastic to the reactive, they may have a pretty decent technique at that point. It's definitely probably time, like you've done before, where you get them to slow that tempo down, like you were explaining,
Right.
so that they understand that it's not about throwing it, down the lane 100 miles an hour.
Right. It's always the correlation of what I see. Two things to a bowling ball. You put velocity, speed on it, and you put rotation, axis rotation. So you don't want to get too technical, you know. Velocity transfers into momentum, and then you got to have axis of rotation and precession. We put speed on it, we put spin on it.
Yeah.
You know, we put speed and spin, make it really, really simple for them to understand.
Yeah.
And once they get that concept, they go, oh yeah, I want to throw the ball like Jerry over here. He's got all these massive hook and on the back end, all that kind of big stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So you want to be able to get them acclimated to know that that level is not that complicated, but it can be if I let it be too much.
Most definitely. If there were any questions, we can certainly answer them at any point. If anybody does have any questions they'd like to ask while we're on here, we will discuss a few things that will probably be going on for the next upcoming week or two or so. Probably just discuss next week's for sure, just to shed light on the idea of what we'll do. Coach and I are actually going to go out on the lanes. Knowing that I'm more probably in that advanced level, I'm going to try and give my best ability to show you some techniques that we see from a beginner bowler with what they would throw with a plastic ball, and give you an idea of what coach would need to go through to kind of tie all this together so you understand that we're going from plastics, getting the understanding of that, to going to the reactive and understanding the way that should roll, and what you should be doing to help the bowler become even better yet at what they're doing. And to, of course, always love the game and be happy and have fun when they're doing it, so they're not in that serious mode all the time and get to a point where they're going to get upset with it and maybe at some point go away from it. But you don't want that to happen.
Be the student.
Yeah, right. Eric Lee Lobdell. Hopefully I didn't crush that over too bad. What is a good reactive ball for dry lanes? You know, we touched base a little bit about this last week, I think, when we talked about this.
The wood lanes?
With the wood lanes idea. There's a few different options you can go to depending on your rev rate, your speed, where and what you play on the lane. Entry level is probably going to give you some ability to do that, where you're going to be able to play on a drier condition. I know from a staffing contract with being on staff with track, I know that they're going to be coming out with a ball that's called the Tundra. That's meant for drier lanes. There are other options on our shelves here that you could go to. It just depends on what you are facing in your particular center. Maybe the surface that you're on. There's a lot of different variables that you got to go through, but hopefully that will give you some sort of an understanding. Some solids with a bigger shape in the core, some shiny with a different shape in the core, depending on what you're going with. Something just to keep the motion a little smoother, so it's not jerky, or even something that's got a little bit, taller core with a heavier top to it. Something in those ranges would be okay too. It'd be a little more continuous. Hopefully that helped with your question. So far, there's not very many questions other than Eric so far. Probably pretty early for everybody. I think in the future we are thinking about maybe changing the time frame and doing this so that it's more open to people. And obviously this is pretty early in the morning for a lot of people. Hopefully we'll capture some more ideas going forward with that, though, and get people to kind of tune in a little more, because I feel like this is kind of a neat thing to be able to be live and actually get some questions answered from a coach / pro shop even guy, since I'm here helping them out. More than happy to help out with any questions that maybe Coach might not have answers for. Who knows? But Coach has been around for a long time, so I'm sure he's got some pretty decent answers for most of the questions that are out there. This week we were talking about the idea of going from that plastic to the reactive, right, Coach?
Right.
And then we're gonna, in the upcoming weeks, other than the next week's session of doing the live on the lanes with the plastic and the reactives, we're going to also get into the upper level stuff one week and kind of tie some things together there again, and then we'll go back on the lanes again to kind of showcase off some of the things that we're going through, as trying to help the bowlers out to get better and better as they progress in this.
Just the transition of going to the second level to the upper level, it happens in a bit of a hurry a lot of times. They really want to move, and I have to try to transition them at a slower pace.
Yeah.
But depending on how much better they get, when we will. I'm looking forward to going to that next higher level to see what we can get in their hand. But we got to let them go in their own time frame.
Definitely. Curtis Gruber has a question here about what's a good ball for dry lanes for a full roller.
Full roller, we don't see many of those anymore.
Not anymore, not as much anymore. But in the local area here in Rockford, Illinois, I've been able full rollers hands,
Right.
and one of them was a Rack Attack Pearl. The core is just a little bigger shape that keeps it a little bit smoother, but you get that distance out of the ball still and predictability. Another option was going to a LT48. That ball is not really on the racks anymore here because they become dated after a few months, unfortunately, from sale purposes. But they are available, so you can still get them. The LT48 was a good one. Sorry to be taking over this
That's
a little
fine.
bit.
Just let them know. I saw that too.
That would certainly be good options, I think, from a standpoint of any other company. You know, I mean, you could certainly go anything lower end, like a Hectic would even be okay. It's probably going to pick up the mids a little bit more than you want to. There's a few different options. You know, I mean, even the Game Breaker series would be a decent one to have predictability. Like a MVP would probably be pretty good.
Like the one I got.
Yeah, definitely. And then, you know, it just depends on what pattern, what the lane condition you have, the lane surface you have on top of that. But those are I would imagine, pretty decent choices for the most part.
Ask a question. Have you ever considered moving from that to a 3/4 roller, or maybe get a little bit different? Not to say you have to.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty different thing. You don't see a lot of that these days.
No, and it's tough. I mean, we even had a girl that graduated from one of the local high schools here that probably should have been having most of her stuff drilled full roller for a while, and she really had to go through some really hard times trying to get that transitioned over.
Get that change.
Get that 3/4 roll instead of that full roller release. It's a tough thing. I mean, if it's something that you've done forever and you can't quite get away from, definitely got to stick with it and find stuff that works for you. But you know, if
I'm sure you're an accurate bowler too.
Yeah,
Full rollers are.
Usually are, definitely. Eric had another question. Eric Lee, would a hammer or storm be good for that type of lane condition? Yeah, I mean, depending on what you're going for. You know, even I know that Hammer has a purple pearl hammer coming back out again. That would be a decent choice to go for Hammer, I would think. Viral, depending on what you're bowling on and what surface you're bowling on, that would also probably be okay for a drier lane. From a storm standpoint, you know, most of the storm stuff gets down lane a lot cleaner than most of the other balls, so I would imagine a lot of their lower end stuff would be just fine. The Hustles for Rotogrip or, you know, the Breeze series, those were okay. The cores are a little bit more predictable still. Hopefully that answered your question, Eric. Curtis says he's been trying 3/4 roll, but I can't get comfortable, he says. So at least he's trying. He's trying to get it to a 3/4 roll. It's just tough to get to a comfortable.
Well, you just have to maybe go to the foul line and do a drill and just keep your hand right behind the ball on a one step. Just try to throw it end over end.
Yeah.
It's okay if you even hear the holes thumping a little bit as they go down the lane, because you got to develop that thumb forward release instead of it turn. He'd come see me. Let's take care of that.
Yeah, there you go. Eric Lee said, "Thanks, guys. Appreciates the answers we gave him." Michael Petiti. God, man, I'm wrecking your names. I'm sure.
That's all right.
It says, "What is a full roller?" What would you see, Coach? What would be the best way
you
to
look at the ball and your track is going right between your thumb and fingers?
Yeah.
We had this in the old days in the 60s and the 70s because it was an accurate release. But generally, you look at your grip and it's just going to come directly through the center line the other way through your fingers and thumb.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll see it come up where it clips the fingers a little bit or an edge of a thumb, but generally it's got a track pretty clean through there.
Yeah. You would say that when they release the ball, they pretty much almost look like they're suitcasing it, so to speak, or what the old suitcase would be.
Yeah, they're going to kick the other way.
Yeah.
It's going to move that ball around to the different side.
Yeah.
Where you're looking at.
I'm sure with the naked eye, everybody can pretty much see that, but one of the things you would probably want to depict on watching bowlers do it is that's probably one of the things you would want to watch for is that they're releasing it where their thumb is almost...
Yeah, where their thumb kicks a lot of times in this direction, they'll come through and they'll kick this way, whereas obviously we want to go in this way, and they're going that way.
Yeah.
Counterclockwise.
Hopefully that helped you out there, Michael, with the description of what a full roller is. We could go into some more detail, I suppose, to some degree if we had to, if you need it, but hopefully that was good. Like I said, from last week we were going from the plastics to the reactive beginning, ball this week. next week we will be taking it on the lanes to showcase off to you what Coach goes through to try and help a beginner plastic ball roller go through. And then also transition, once they've gotten that, what he does also to kind of get them acclimated into the reactive balls going forward. And then the following week we'll discuss some more stuff about the higher end stuff and get you into that, and then maybe more of an arsenal type idea of sorts to give you. And once you've gotten yourself acclimated into the reactives and start really enjoying it and understanding you could use some more hook and stuff like that. Michael says thank you. So good enough answer, I hope.
Yeah, look forward to it every week.
Curtis also says thank you, and we look forward to having these discussions every week and being able to talk and bring the tips and topics to you. Do you have any last words you'd like to say, Coach?
Just thanks for tuning in. Really enjoy getting this progress from beginner, intermediate to the advanced. So tune in. I'm looking forward to giving you that information.
All right, we'll talk to you guys soon.